Hey guys, what's up? Today we're going to take a look at shifts in demand and the determinants of demand. So your objective today is to understand what changes demand, what causes the change in demand. So first, let's review. When we review, we talked about demand, and we know that demand is the buyer's willingness and ability to pay for a good or service, right? Pay a price for it. It doesn't matter what I want, right? What matters is that I can afford and I am willing to purchase it, right? And we talked about the iWatch as it launched today. I'm not willing to pay $350 for that right now. I haven't seen what it can do. I haven't made my mind up on if it's something that I want yet. So I won't do that. But now with the Pebble Watch, it's $199. I might be willing to buy that. All right. And I can afford that. I just don't know. Who knows, right? So what we see is we see that kind of taking place. Next, we see supply, right? With supply, it's the amount of a product or service that producers and firms are willing to sell at a certain price. How many pizzas is Little Caesars willing to sell at $5? Quite a few. How many at $4? Not nearly as many, and that's an important consideration for us to take a look at, right? Supply really depends on what the sellers want to do. They're in the business of making money. So supply is just basically how much money are we going to make, and we have to figure that out. Equilibrium is where life is perfect and everything comes together into one, right? The demand of the buyers meets the supply of the producers and everyone's happy. It's a totally perfect market, right? Everything works. Very, very rare that happens. All right. The law of demand states that the price of a good or service increases, the demand will decrease. And that's what we see with so much of this, right? And that's why our demand graphs tend to point down and to the right, right? Because the high price means that we don't want to buy it, and that low price means that we want as much of it as we can get. Right? On the flip side, what we see is the law of supply, which tells us that when the price is high, the producer is willing to produce more because, well, they want to make money. Crazy idea. Let's make some money. And that's what you start to see with the law of demand and law of supply. As we move forward, here's that Latin phrase, Ceteris Paribus. I don't know if I said that right. I've never taken a day of Latin in my life. My professors always said all things equal. Right? So all things being equal. Anytime we take a look at this, we have to pay attention and make sure that everything is equaling out in this, right? If it's not, if we're changing more than one variable, we don't really know what's happening when we change the price, or if we change, because Kanye says we should buy it, whatever it might be. We don't know. So it's important to keep everything else equal except for what we're looking at. Right? When we talk about types of goods, we have 4 types of goods, and this is going to throw those out, right? So we have normal goods, inferior goods, substitute goods, and complement goods. And normal good is when you have more income, you're going to buy this. So think name brand things, right? That's how I like to think of it. Like, no, I'm not going to get great value mac and cheese. I'm going to get Kraft mac and cheese, right? Because I made an extra dollar this week, whatever it might be, right? We start to kind of see that. Inferior goods is if you have less income, you're going to buy more of this, and if you have more income, you're going to buy less of it. So think of like normal goods as, what you would normally eat, and think about inferior goods as what a typical college student diet is. Instant ramen and easy mac, and that's an important thing to kind of look at. Substitute good is a good that I can use instead of another. For instance, like Coca-Cola, I could use Pepsi, right? Or Mellow Yellow, I could use Mountain Dew. Ever gone to a restaurant and had them say, you say, I want a Coke, and they say, is Pepsi okay? And you say, yes, you've substituted a good, right? A complement good is a good that's used with other goods. So think peanut butter, and it's good pal jelly. And when you look at peanut butter goes best with jelly. So they complement each other, and a change in the price of one will change the supply in another, or the demand in another. So we talk about determinants, we talk about taste. Is it in style? Is it cool to have this right now? That's an important thing to remember. All right. How many people want it right now? All right. High levels of taste means that it is in high demand. Think of the joggers, right? I remember elastic legged pants being hip, right? That kind of bowed out in the thigh. They were called parachute pants, and MC Hammer patented them basically, right? When he sang about you can't touch this. So 20 years ago, maybe even 25 years ago now, these pants were in super style, and I see them being back in style with you guys. All right, income. What we see with the income is that, if you have a change in income, you have more money to spend or less money to spend. The more money you have to spend, the more normal goods you'll buy. The less money you have to spend, the more inferior goods you'll buy. So that kind of changes the demand of each of those. Next, we see the price of other goods. What is the cost of substitute goods? Complement goods. Is the cost is lower or higher, demand will be affected. So if the price of jelly skyrockets, maybe peanut butter's demand falls. Or maybe peanut butter is really the main part of that, and peanut butter stays unchanged. Right? Think about, maybe price of tires. Or no, let's think of price of gasoline and the demand of tires, right? If gasoline is really expensive, we're not driving as much, then maybe we're not buying tires either. And think of potential buyers. How many people are potentially interested in purchasing your good or service? So think Apple Watch here. How many people want an Apple Watch? I have a feeling that there's going to be 300 million Apple Watches sold over the next 2 years, right? So if there are not that many buyers, your demand will be low. If there's a lot of buyers, you will. So let's talk about types of movements, right? And I have 2 examples here. The first example on the left-hand side is simply a change in price. You'll notice that there is no new demand, but there's only a new quantity demanded, right? The change in price from 40 to 17 increases the quantity demanded quite drastically, right? So what we see there is we just see a movement along the same curve, and that's only caused by price changes. Right? The other one is a movement, a new curve. So a change in price causes a brand new, or a change in price does not cause a brand new, but it just stays on the simple one. Right? You move along. It doesn't change anything. It just changes how many people are willing to buy that product. Right? It doesn't demand, there's no new demand, right? A new demand curve on the other side would be caused by a change in taste, income, price of other goods, and or potential buyers, right? So think about the iPhone 5. Not nearly as in demand as the iPhone 6, right? There's a new one, so the demand of the 5 is down low. Doesn't change the fact that the price could change. It just matters that we have changed our consumer preferences to reflect that, and that's what we start to see. So today I hope you guys can take a look at, I have 6 questions to go along with this for you guys to work on and identify where the things would go and if it's an increase or decrease. All right, so use your best judgment on this and take your best guess, right? And remember, Paul McCartney was discovered by Kanye West. Have a good one. Bye.